Hello, amazing artists. It's Kelly Folsom here, and I want to welcome you back to another Art Life Conversations podcast. We are continuing on to talk about this very important topic on, what is the real reason behind you not creating your art? Not painting or not drawing, whatever your art is, like what is the real reason behind that? And we're on part 5. So if you have missed any of these, I would recommend that you go back to the first one, which was, about 5 weeks ago, and use this series if you're struggling to get motivated to create, right? To paint, to draw, to sculpt, whatever your form of art is. If you're finding yourself in that struggling stagnation place, I would consider using this as like a self-diagnosis kind of system, because sometimes we just can't see what's going on for ourselves whenever we are in the thick of it. And obviously I got through all of these challenges and dealt with all of these challenges myself in order to become, a professional full-time artist. And these are things I've seen other artists, whether they're my peers, struggling with as well. And also all of the art students that I've worked with over the years, hundreds and hundreds of art students that I've worked with over the years. These are all pretty much the reasons behind the symptom of not creating. So we're in part 5, and today we're talking about who are you surrounded by, or who are you not surrounded by? So this is a really big deal as an artist. Do you have enough artist friends? Are you surrounded by other artists? So one of the reasons why I think I didn't create for so long as a teenager was just primarily like I had no art instruction. Nobody else. I was in a small town, right? And I was kind of in smaller communities, even whenever we lived in Amarillo, Texas, which isn't a huge city, but we didn't go to public school. We were in a very kind of more, I guess more, you might say more isolated kind of bubble of our social sphere was smaller, and so there wasn't really anybody else doing this. And I kind of felt like, oh, well, it must not be that important then. It must not matter. Everybody's playing sports. It seems like it's okay to play an instrument or to sing, but nobody is making art. So, and that was my experience in childhood, into early adulthood. And it wasn't until I got signed up for some of my first art classes that I realized how important it was for me to be around other artists, right? So we know this, we become like the people that we are most around. And there's that quote of we become like the top 5 people that we spend the most time around. I'm sure that that's true. And I also feel like it's really just important that you insert yourself into some sort of environment or community where other artists are there. They're talking about art, they're making art, they're sharing their struggles. They're, supporting each other, helping each other. And obviously there are toxic, artists out there, toxic art communities. You don't want to belong to one of those, okay? But if you are just all by yourself and expecting yourself to stay motivated, inspired, generate new ideas, get opportunities for your art, if you're expecting yourself to have all those things, be all those things, and do all those things without surrounding yourself with people who are already doing, and having everything that you want to be, do, and have, you are really being unrealistic. Like, that is not the nature of being human, first of all. We tend to model ourselves after examples that we're seeing. And so you just want to make sure that you are involved in some sort of art community, whether it's an art class or you're going to an open studio or you're in an online artist community that really truly is active. So there's a lot of online art communities, so-called art communities, and nowadays everybody claims that they have a community who's running a course. And then you get in there and you see, oh, like I post and it's just crickets and it's a dud and the instructor is never in here. So you want to make sure that it really is an active, community, and a positive one that's supportive, one that you can feel safe in, open in, as well. So if you're not creating that, I would really look at that. And also, you might have art friends or art classes or art community, and maybe you stopped participating. Maybe you stopped going. Maybe you've just been isolating yourself too much. And that could also be part of why you're not creating right now. So I would consider getting plugged back in, right? Plug yourself back into those communities, spend time with those other artists, regardless of, are you good friends or not? Make new artist friends, sign up for new classes or new events, get yourself out there. You will start to feel more infused with energy and with inspiration to create again. Okay, so the next piece of this is in terms of who are you around. And as I said, as human beings, we naturally tend to look for examples of what is possible for us. We look for models to follow, right? Like role models, people who are ahead of us on the journey, people who can show us what's possible. I know and a lot of times this comes in the shape of teachers or mentors, right? I know for me early on, that was part of my issue as an artist who wasn't creating anymore. And really, I didn't call myself an artist because I wasn't creating. But part of the issue, the underlying issue for that was I did not see any examples of anybody else doing anything with this. I didn't have any role models. I didn't have any art teachers, any art mentors. I had nobody to show me what the potential was, what the path of possibility for me was. Okay, so just think about that. If that is something you just ask yourself, do I have that? Do I have examples of my future as an artist? What's possible? What the potential path is? Do I have any examples of that around me? Now, and I will also say, you want to get, real examples, real living people, not just, dead people like Michelangelo and Van Gogh. And, you want to find real examples in our time right now. People, teachers, mentors who are modeling the kind of art that you want to create. They're going to model the kind of art career perhaps that you want to have. Not always, but sometimes, so they're out there. They are out there. So, and now with online, it's easy and it's not. There's so much online that it can feel super overwhelming. And there's also so much low quality online that, it can maybe feel like a challenge to find that higher quality education or online, or higher quality community, or higher quality mentorship or teaching online. So, but it is out there. I mean, I provide one of those online. right? And I do a lot of things like this, like I film podcasts, I put out YouTube videos, blogs, things like that to try to contribute so that people like, people like you out there can find this community and find this mentorship. Okay. So that's part of why I do this podcast, is for you, is to meet you, is to potentially reach you, if my community, if my school is a right fit for you. But I would say look at like what are you surrounded by every day? Who are you surrounded by every day, every week, right? Those are the people who you're going to end up emulating. And because it's our nature as human beings to try to fit in, you're going to be like them, right? Because you're trying to fit in. And it's not to say that, let's say if all of your friends are, housewives, or, they're spending their days going and playing golf, right? Maybe they're retired. There's nothing wrong with that. But if your soul's desire is saying that you want to be creative and you want to create art, I'm not saying you have to get rid of those friends by any means, but you're going to have to get some new people, some new network, right? Some new artist friends in your life, so that you can be around them more, right? So that you can fit in with them. And that's just going to reinforce that soul's desire to create. So once, I know for myself, whenever I very first started taking classes, that I looked forward to that all week long, and then I started signing up for more classes and multiple classes at once, because I really wanted to be creating art. And I wasn't, as I shared in an earlier podcast, I wasn't creating art on my own at home yet. Okay, so you've got to start somewhere in terms of getting around other artists, right? Finding art teachers, and hashtag done is better than perfect. Like, just get started, just start somewhere, and then you'll start to figure out your path along the way, and you'll start to figure out what kind of art you want to spend your time making, what kind of artist you want to be around, which artists uplift you and which artists maybe bring you down or deplete your energy, right? But you do have to start somewhere. And I know for me, I saw a huge boost. This is back in probably 2005, like 20 years ago. I saw a huge boost in my creative energy just by signing up for one single art class once a week. And, it's easy not to do. It's easy to just keep putting it off and keep suffering, right? But at some point, it is something you're going to have to gift to yourself. Okay. And it really is an artistic, creative gift to give that to yourself. And I think it pays off so much. The reward of it pays off so much more than whatever it's going to cost you in terms of discomfort. Maybe you deal with social anxiety, and obviously online might be a better solution for that, because you do have a little bit of that distance there in the community where you can participate whenever you want to. But the payoff is so much greater. So start, even if it's with one class but make sure that it has a community where you can actually engage if you're doing online. Okay. It's so important. So important. And, make sure that you get around people who are ahead of you on the journey. Read about artists, maybe start buying the art magazines, or, searching for artists' blogs, or finding artists on YouTube and learning about their journey. Hopefully they're sharing somewhat about their journey and what they're doing, like what I'm doing here, so that you can kind of see like, oh, this is possible for me. It's not just for these people over here. or just even knowing what is possible. That was the biggest thing for me. I just didn't even know it was possible to be an artist. I didn't even know anybody was doing it. I was just clueless. I had never been to an art museum in my whole life, up until 28 years old. And so I didn't know what I didn't know, right? So I had to start somewhere. And the place that I started was by just signing up for one art class once a week. And that's what got me going. And then that got me hooked, right? And then that led to the decision of, yes, I want to do this every day, all day, and I want to be creating. All right, my friends, so that was part 5, the real reason why you're not creating, why you're not painting. I hope this was helpful to you. Let me know in the comments below the thing that really stood out to you the most, and also if you know why you're not creating, leave that in the comments below. Let me know, let me in on your thoughts as well and what you're going through and what you're feeling and thinking about, why you're not creating. All right, everybody, I can't wait to hear back from you. This is a conversation, so let's keep the conversation going. I love hearing your ideas. And you can email any other ideas or thoughts or maybe topics that you would like me to cover in future podcasts to info@artlifewithkelly.com. All right, until next time, I'm wishing you all happy creating and